YouTube, welcome to Groove Builders. I'm Disorderly Cone, and in this episode, we're getting sucked right back into the time vortex to help build one of the Doctor's favorite robotic companions, K9. Let's not waste any more time and jump right into the build.
Groove Builders, welcome to the workbench. We have our instructions and our metal. Let's get started with the head. When I originally opened up this model, I was really impressed by the amount of detail they decided to include with this one sheet. And I was able to determine that this is the K9 Mark I that was given to the Doctor in The Invisible Enemy back in the 4th Doctor's era of Doctor Who, not the one that you see later on, which is K9 Mark IV in School Reunion with Sarah Jane. There are quite a few detail pieces that go into making K9's head. Just remember to take your time and go slow when adding these pieces on. Nothing is worse than putting the whole thing together just to realize that you have an ear or you have a big gaping seam where you attach some tabs. Take your time, go slow, and make sure those are really tight connection. Now with these plates in the very front, I definitely recommend taking your time and rebending the front portions before attaching the plate on. If you don't, you can run the risk of scratching the mirror finish. Now here's the neck. The easiest way to form the neck I found was start with your finger and then warp it into a circle. If you have a pencil or a nice thick dowel, this is a perfect item to use to shape K9's neck, and it will make sure that it's nice and even all the way around. And then we're just going to attach it with those two tabs there. This piece right here is the center of K9's head, and that little dish at the very tip is definitely something you want to pay attention to, and I'll talk about it a little bit more at the end of the video. After free shaping the top of K9's head, I recommend using the side part as a bit of a guide to help you realign the piece. You really don't want to have any gaps between the two pieces once they're connected. K9's radio dish ears. And now with both of them on there, we're going to go ahead and just connect it to the main head. Just before we go ahead and close up K9's head, you want to make sure that all the pieces are super tight. Once we close them up, you don't want to open them back up again. Now, when installing the collar, I noticed something really awesome. The Metal Earth guys decided to keep the detail along the collar, which any true Doctor Who fan would know is the 4th Doctor scarf. And they even kept a really good etching detail to illustrate this. Now that we have everything secured, we're going to go ahead and close up K9's head. Fold over the tabs, and there we go. On to the main body, where we'll be attaching the side panels onto K9. There's a few different ways we can actually do this. My personal suggestion is to go ahead and pre-bend all the tabs with inside of K9's casing, and then with the sidewall, go ahead and pre-bending that as well. This will aid in helping you not to scratch the metal along the sides. Nothing is worse than putting everything together just to see a giant scrape. The communication and diagnostic viewing screen. On to K9's less than fluffy tail. I went ahead and just free bent the first part of the tail. Now I don't always recommend doing that because when you do this, you do run the risk of making it look sloppy. If you have a dowel or something that will help you, always use it. Groove Builders, when building models just like this, sometimes it's easier to construct pieces that you're going to attach to the main body of your model on the side, while other times it's easier for you to go ahead and just attach it to the body and form it in place. With these letters, I really recommend going ahead and forming them first before placing them onto K9. I also had to use a pair of needle nose pliers to straighten them afterwards. The 4th and final plate of K9. Now we're going to do exactly what we did on the last ones here. Pre-bend all the tabs and pre-bend the plate, making sure that when we're installing it to go slow to not scratch the surface. And there's our command computer. We're going to attach it to the back. And then our switch is also going to go on the back as well. And there we go. It's finally time to form Canines Body, and you Groove Builders will notice we attached all the detail on K9 before doing this part. The reason why we do this is because we don't want to keep opening K9 to attach the detail pieces. This will weaken the metal and cause it to break, and that's not good for anyone. Just me sizing it up here. Now we're going to marry all of these points together and bend the tabs. K9's coming along pretty well now. Not a whole lot more to go here, Groove Builders. We just have the base and lower border pieces of Canine to complete. When building the lower border pieces, I definitely recommend using a pair of needle nose pliers or the table to make the proper bend, not using the detailed tweezers like I did in this first piece. The reason why that is because when using tweezers, it leaves this really weird wave throughout the entire piece. You can fix that by using needle nose pliers, but you might as well go ahead and use them from the beginning. Saves time. Here we go, attaching the base piece. Once we've installed the base, we're going to go ahead and install all of the border pieces along the bottom. Now, Groove Builders, make sure you go extremely slow during this phase, as you don't want to scratch any of that mirror finish on the panels that we installed earlier. All of the border pieces connect along the base of Canine, and it's just important to make sure that all of the tabs are uniform. Once you've completed this, it's just one more look around Canine to ensure all of our tabs are all bent the right way.
Alright, Groove Builders, we did it. We built our very own Canine unit. And if I did everything correctly, all I have to do is just press this little button right here and he should activate. Let's give it a go.
Hello, Master.
Canine! Welcome to Groove Builders. Now, is everything feeling okay in there?
All preliminary circuits are functioning, Master.
Is that a good thing?
Yes.
Excellent. Well, Canine, this is typically the part of the show where I discuss with them about some things I like about you. Would you mind just going over to that little rotating pedestal over there? When I'm done, we can play chess.
One-dimensional chess, Master. I'm going right
Excellent.
away.
Groove Builders, let's talk Canine. Our friend Canine was a lot of fun to build. However, there are a few little things you want to keep your eye out for. The first thing I want to talk about is his head. Now, I recommend using the side parts of his head to help shape the middle portion. This will help keep all of your bends uniform and your model looking really sharp at the end. Also, there's a little dish that goes on top of his head as well. I recommend building the dish first and then, of course, shaping the dish afterwards. I also recommend using a punch if you have it, just because that little end there makes it really easy to make dishes similar to this. And when we cover the lunar lander, I'm definitely going to be using this tool to help me with those dishes as well. The second thing I want to talk about is the amount of detail that went into Canine's model. They made sure to capture all the little parts, just like the engraved letters saying Canine on the right hand side, the viewing screen on the left hand side, and the little interface on top where the doctor could put in different commands when he's fighting the Daleks or some other monster in the series. The last thing I want to talk about is the sides in front of Canine. If you remember the TARDIS, when we were building the TARDIS signs, it's very similar to that in construction. However, there's a little small bend you're going to make in around the middle end of that. Now, when installing the sides onto Canine, be very careful not to scratch the mirror finish on the outside. I unfortunately did make a couple of little scratches, but they weren't too bad. I just recommend going slow and taking your time, and it should turn out excellent. Alright, Groove Builders, that brings us to the end. I had a great time building Canine with you, and if you guys had a good time, don't forget to press that like button. For more videos like this, hit subscribe as well. We got all kinds of really cool stuff coming along the way, including Star Wars. Until next time, Groove Builders, keep building. Canine, don't worry, I'm coming.